is really about the wisdom of non-duality and how that wisdom can inform us about how we be in this world at this time and what is needed from us as coaching supervisors to support the coaching community as we help leaders and people in business and in the world to be with what is unfolding now, and how can we draw on wisdom beyond our kind of ego or beyond what we know about the world, because it is calling us to be accessing different types of wisdom. And we have Claire Genkai Breeze, who's a Buddhist nun, who's going to run a 4-hour workshop. And we also have John Whittingham, who does constellations. He's going to run another workshop. And then we have other speakers. We have Edna Murdoch, Poyi Dorian, Lisa Strogel, Dr. Okakon Udon, Amaranato. We're going to be talking about earth wisdom, the Akashic records, singing bowls, intuition, emergent dialogue. Those are some of the topics, like how do we access this wisdom? So it's going to be an interesting dialogue. So I'd love you all to come so that we can create that collective wisdom that we all need right now as we navigate the world.
Will you remind everybody the date so people can put it in the calendars, and also to register?
Thank you. Thank you, Damian. It's the 19th and 20th of April, so Saturday and Sunday. No, Friday and Saturday. Friday and Saturday. Thanks, Damian.
No, great. Thank you for organizing this with Lily this year. And because this is a learning community, we want people to get to learn from each other. So this is not going to be a lecture. I didn't prepare like a PowerPoint presentation to share with you. It's going to be more reflecting together as a community to what are the things as supervisors that we need to be aware of. I do believe as coaches, we need to have responsibility to be paying attention to what's happening in the world and how AI is affecting the coaching world. But as supervisors, I think we have an extra responsibility in being prepared to have these conversations with coaches. So the goal today is to reflect on, as supervisors, what are the things that we need to be paying attention, and how we can take advantage to some extent of AI to do our work as coaches and as supervisors. So that's the idea for the session today. But first, let's everybody to introduce each other so everybody gets to know each other. I think several people here know many people here, but not everybody. We don't have time to do introductions because if we would do that, we have only 1 hour, so that would take too long. But in the chat box, please write down your name, where you are calling from, and anything you want to share. So it's another way for us to get to know each other and build this community by getting to know who are part of this community. So if you want to write your name, where are you calling from, and anything you want to share today. So it's one of the ways that we can connect with each other. And meanwhile you do that, I am going to share with you. First, I want to thank Mel McKinley. Thank you, Mel, for sending the article. I shared that with everybody. I don't know if you got it or not. I sent it yesterday in our newsletter, just to remind people to come, and also as a reading that I found very interesting. And I also posted in LinkedIn in case that you didn't get that email. Everybody here should have received that newsletter with information, but if you didn't, let me know, because that means your name is not in our list, or it may have gone to the junk mail that many times happen with mail chain, with the software that we use to send emails. So it's also available in LinkedIn, and I will also post it here at the end of the session for you to have it. I also going to post today at the end of the session. I got a permission from Gary, the editor of Choice Magazine. I think probably most of you are familiar with Choice Magazine. It's one of the most important magazines in the world. There are not too many. And Gary accepted my request to share with you the magazine from Choice Magazine focused on AI. So he came up with that magazine last year, and I asked him if I can share it in the presentation, and he said yes. So I will share with you that at the end of the session too, as a resource for you if you wanna see different perspectives around the topic from different coaches in the world. So it was coming up, and I thought I would start with sharing with you a brief video just to reflect on the topic. And then we will go to small groups to discuss your perceptions and experiences. So if you look at right now, first I was thinking to start defining what is AI, because I think that not everybody's clear. What do we really mean by AI? And what did I do is I ask AI, what is AI? Of course, we use our resources. I assume that by now everybody's familiar with ChatGPT. ChatGPT, everybody knows what is it? Okay, so you need to know what is it. You don't need to be an expert, but if you have not heard about that means that you're behind. Okay, so, but sometimes it's difficult to define AI. So this is the way, if you look in the chat box, this is the way that ChatGPT defines AI. Refer to the simulation of human intelligence processes by computer systems. I think this is an easy one to remember. These processes include learning, reasoning, problem solving, perception, language understanding, decision making. AI technologies enable machines to mimic cognitive functions typically associated with humans, allowing them to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence. AI systems can analyze large sets of data, recognize patterns, make predictions, understand natural language, and even interact with humans through speech or text interfaces. Okay, as you can see, and this is what we do with ChatGPT. When we use it, we ask questions and we get answers. We also can have a dialogue with ChatGPT. We also can get ideas, suggestions, recommendations based on topics or situations, or even if we present a situation, can help us to provide some guidance, and also can create things for us. For example, any of you have tried to create a PowerPoint presentation with ChatGPT? Do you know that ChatGPT, when next time that you have to do a presentation, enter in ChatGPT. For example, I'm going to do an example. I had to do the presentation this Friday. I am doing a presentation for an association in Korea on supervision. So I ask opportunities and challenges for coaching supervisors. And I entered that information in ChatGPT, and it came up with a PowerPoint presentation with 15 PowerPoints with all of the points and everything. Of course, I went through it and I edited. I didn't use exactly what is in there. I needed to add my own take, but it really helped me. Can you imagine if I would have to start from scratch, that would have taken me much longer. So sometimes that can provide us some guidance and can support us in our work. That's some examples. So let me share, as you know, AI now can be used to support our work like this. For example, if we're working with the clients and we want to get ideas and suggestions and recommendations and resources. So we can see it as a resource in our work as coaches or supervisors. The issue, and I think that what is bringing anxiety in the business is what happens if AI replaces some of the work that we are doing. And I heard that for first time from David Peterson. And in 2013, I was, at that time, the ICF Global President, and I went to a conference in Malmo. I don't know if anybody was there, but he presented, and he said, 10 years ago, we as coaches need to pay attention. At that, and by that time, David Peterson was the head of Google. He was the head in Google coaching. So he was the expert, he was the higher person working at Google around coaching. And he said, in the future, some of the work of coaches is going to be replaced by AI. And I remember I was there and I was so upset. I was so angry. I said, that's not possible. And I struggled with that for a couple of years. I didn't like it. I didn't agree with it. And I've been thinking some way he was right. I don't think AI is going to replace the work of the coaches, but can do some of the work and can, in some instances, can alter the work that we do as AI is doing in most professions. So it's not only for coaches to be wondering what's going on. It's for most professions like lawyers, financial advisors, travel agents. Many professions are being altered by the medical field. Many fields are being affected and impacted by AI in positive ways, and always there is the ethical issues. So this is where the big challenges are. How do we manage the ethical issues? And talking about ethical issues, let me share with you a brief video, and then I want to hear if you have any reactions to what I'm sharing, and then we will go to work in small groups. And let me share my screen, and I want to share something with you. Just a second. So this, okay, here we go. Okay. How many of you have heard about The Good Life? Anybody have seen this before, The Good Life? The Good Life AI is the first personally based digital coaching chatbot for clarity, productivity, well-being, and growth. So later you can go, the website is thegoodlife.ai. How it works, organizations today are struggling with the key employees issues. And yes, there are a lot of issues around well-being and stress in organizations, as we can see in our work with our clients, and that produces lost productivity, absenteeism. But this hybrid work also produces isolation issues for some people. For some people work really well, for some people don't. But I do believe the stress at work is one of the main issues these days that we need to be aware of. We see it in our work. So let's see what they have to say.
You didn't get where you are by default. It took intent, focus, fortitude, purpose, perseverance, and when other people's issues, cash flow crunches, compliance regulations, bad timing, and sleepless nights while juggling work, life, R&R, and relationships all get in the way, it really helps to have a little help at hand. Not just for you, but for all of your people as well. The good life? You're already living it, mostly, because life's good, and often good. Even when the business of everyday life gets in the way, it's still good. But it sure doesn't feel like it when stuff happens, and stuff happens to all of us. That's why you have thegoodlife.ai, on demand, on purpose. So, when the tough stuff happens, and it always does, who do you and your people turn to? A business coach might not understand how much personal life can affect work, and a life coach might not understand business issues. A professional or support group can help, but none of these can be there in an instant or on demand, anytime, anywhere. Hasn't somebody figured this out already? Well, meet The Good Life, your business of life coach. We've got your back, at your beck and call. It's so much more than just an app. The Good Life is the world's first personality-based AI digital coaching engine, engineered to help your people achieve more, quickly and easily solve life's challenges, reach their goals, and level up on demand. Simply put, The Good Life helps your people keep the good life the good life, so they come to work happier, healthier, and more productive. The Good Life inspires your people to achieve more clarity, focus, well-being, and growth by chatting anywhere, anytime with Jeannie, the first personality-based, artificial, and emotionally intelligent digital coach. This approach inspires each individual to take the next step in their own good life journey while delivering a humanized experience that is always safe and secure. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 a year. Jeannie starts by identifying each person's individual personality and then uses that person's uniqueness to provide custom, tailored advice. Let's take these two people. One appreciates the bottom line, short sentences, and crossing things off a list quickly. The other appreciates details, quality of information, and getting things done right. But they both have a problem. They need to make a decision. No problem. Each uses the app and asks Jeannie with help making a decision. By realizing the individual nature of the person, their unique identity and motivators, Jeannie can reply with the perfect answer for each, not a canned response left to interpretation. Everyone is happier knowing exactly what to do next, virtually eliminating analysis paralysis. Considering or wondering about human connection? Well, we've got you covered. Using our Ask a Human feature, anyone can request email coaching from a trained, certified professional coach. As you can no doubt imagine, the Good Life AI with Jeannie Digital Coach is a powerful tool for anyone on your team. Available anytime, anywhere, your people will find more confidence and less stress, while your company receives the benefit of happier, healthier people throughout your organization. On purpose, on demand.
Yeah, you get the sense. Let's do like a case study. Let's imagine that a coach comes to you as a supervisor and said, I was invited to work in this company and they wanted me to hire me as a coach to work with them. But I'm not sure. I don't know what to do. So let's go to small groups and let's discuss how will you navigate the conversation with a coach that is bringing these conversations to you? So the invitation is to think with a hat as a supervisor, with coach bringing you their dilemmas around these issues, how we can navigate the conversation. So with that in mind, let's go to groups of 4, and let's have a conversation for 10 minutes, okay? And let's then get all together and discuss it together. Yeah, that makes sense.
And as an assistant, it may provide to you, the coach or the supervisor, information about what's going on. So I imagine a screen where you have your screen in front of you, you and the supervisee, let's say, and then you have pop-up small screen saying that, be careful, you are too emotional, calm down. You see, something like that.
So you're going to be assisting you in your work and paying attention to also your emotional state.
Or anything. I mean, a diagnostic about the other person. I mean, an evaluation of the level of alliance. I mean, anything, but assisting you, not replacing you.
So what happened in your group? Let's hear from every group. Maybe one person can share and we can open this conversation for everybody. In your group, Michelle, who else was there? Were we Diane, Lynn, and Teresa? Who would like to share? You're in room number 1.
Not me.
Okay.
I'll jump in and take
Great.
a shot at it.
Great.
We spent a little bit of time just trying to understand exactly what the dilemma was, because we weren't sure if the supervisee was wondering about working with the AI firm or working with a company that was using the AI services. So we kind of mucked around a little bit with that. And then, kind of bottom line, I'll let the others in the group jump in, but we kind of got to the place that it's really about the emotions that the supervisee is bringing to the supervision. And given the supervisee wasn't right in front of us, we were kind of analyzing different aspects of the dilemma. But in real life, as supervisors, we would likely start more with what's going on with this human being emotionally.
Okay, great. So one place to go will be exploring emotional reactions to the experience. Great. In the room number 2, that were Aida, Sylvia, Linda, who would like to share?
We were talking about the supervisor supporting the coach and thinking about their choices about a new potential post. And we thought a lot of what we might do there wouldn't particularly be affected by the fact it was AI. Like any job, you know, what is it they're asking you to do? What's the contracting arrangements, etc. We talked about whether the supervisor might be being asked to be the coach, where your advert said there's a human coach, in which case, does that mean the coach is then typing, or there's some sort of, if you like, normal coaching interaction, or whether the coach was being asked to help train the AI to do its 24/7 thing. And then we had a lot of apprehension about ethics. So, and even this session, I think AI can be looking at what we're doing and provide you with a transcript on the Zoom. So the question is, who, apart from all of us who have a implied contracting arrangement, who else is listening in? Where's that data going? Who owns it? Who's going to share it? And if it is being captured and could be made available, that might completely change any coaching, supervision, contracting arrangement, or even what we are prepared to say here.
Yeah, because of confidentiality issues at the heart, isn't it?
So I don't know whether that's just we're scared because we don't understand, or that's a real threat.
It's a good question.
But Ada was talking about actually training one of these things, so maybe she'd like to add.
No, it was different. I had the request last year to train a robot for a program. It was for a startup, and they asked me, okay, can you train the robot? Because we want to expand. There was an IT program from adults, and they were coaching people to make sure that they finished the program and they didn't drop in the middle. And they wanted to expand it and reach out to more people, but they couldn't afford to have real coaches for everybody. So we had a lot of conversations. Yeah, and I said, well, tell me what are the cases and why the people, what are the reasons that people are dropping in the middle of the programs? And the only thing that I can think about questions, but not a coaching session, questions that might come when they present the problem. And so I prepare 100 questions for them, but I don't know what's happening if they got the fundings and all that to continue. So learning.
Aida, thank you for sharing that, because I can help many of us that somebody called us and contacted us and said, you know, will you do this for us?
Yeah. No, and actually it was a startup, and they said, well, it was kind of, I didn't get paid for that. I said, well, I'm going to support you in your startup at the beginning, but then I'm not going to work for free to be replaced. So I prefer to do it myself, to make sure that they start with some professional coaches rather than ask anyone to ask questions and call coaches people who, so.
But thank you for sharing that, Aida, because what you shared, probably we are going to be hearing more and more. And so we may be in that place at some point. So we want to be prepared. So thank you for sharing that. I heard also, I don't know how many of you are familiar with software that is using avatars. So they learn the movement, the voice of the coach, and then they replace that. Anybody have seen that or heard about that?
Yes, I tried, but I think that when we were doing the supervision, I don't know, but I tried that many years ago.
So let's go to the group number 3 that were Mel, Monica, and Thea. Who would like to share about what your conversation was about?
Well, what do I want to say? The question came up about democratization, excuse me, just a minute, of supervision and pricing, and how to make the universality of it. From this conversation right now, I'm seeing the threat to coaching differently, because this app, which we saw, what I said is this is an advice app. This is not a coaching app. And that's for us to continue. We won't be able to stop this march of AI, but to continue to be able to distinguish between what AI is and what wisdom is, what a provocative conversation is, and continue to be the stand for that, and educating our clients and our supervisees. And Thea, is there anything you want to add? Or Deborah, I don't know if I captured your concern well.
The only thing I want to bring in is also how what our supervisees bring in is holding the mirror to us. How do we deal ourselves with the whole AI topic? And I'm maybe a bit old. I come from the time when email was invented, so that is also my own struggle with this whole new applications and the impact that it has on my life.
It's like,
and to what extent these questions that I ask myself will be brought in by my supervisees or coaches.
Yeah, that's exactly, Thea, the reason why we're talking about that, because you're not alone. We all, to some extent, are wondering. We have these questions. And I do believe that the supervisors, sometimes we hold the space for what happened to coaches around this too, the uncertainty. And there is some level of threat, how threatened you feel. So and people are in a continuum. There are people who do not feel threatened at all, people who feel a little bit threatened, and people who are very threatened about it. So it's interesting to find out where we are as coaches. And then when coaches come to us as supervisors, we can be prepared and not surprised by their challenges, and being able to provide that support that they may need, and also clarification. Like before, I think, Sylvia, you were asking a question about, okay, is this really confidential, or is anybody listening to it? It's like with other instruments that we may be using that also have a conversation. And sometimes people wonder, is anybody listening? How do we know that they don't? Sam, let's go to the last group. Share with us a little bit about your thoughts and your group conversation. You're mute. And then Deborah, we'll go back to you, okay?
I don't want to report for the whole group. I have to leave in just a couple of moments.
Okay.
And excuse me for jumping in. I just want to add the question, why? Why AI? I would say this if a coach came to me. First of all, let's get established on why. And when I ask that question in this AI circles at high levels that I talk with, the answer I've gotten back so far is so that we can do more faster, which was also represented in the video. And that sentiment to me leads invariably, inevitably to bad ethics. So that's where I'm starting from, but I'd love to hear my supervisee explain why. Then we can continue with the conversation, because I'm not getting much of an answer except faster, better.
Great question. Thank you. This is the kind of thing that can be.
I'm sorry, I have to leave very, very quickly.
Great to see you, Sam. We hope to see you soon in other meetings. So that's a great question. That's something that we can all take. One of our takeaways today is like exploring that question. I think that can make a difference. Deborah?
Yeah, actually, I was in the group with Merle and Thea, so I wanted to add a couple of things.
Yes.
And also, so you knew that was the group that talked about democratization, right? Couple of things. One of the answers to what Sam was asking, why we have concern and why AI outliers. There are people who do better when they're not interacting with humans. And AI, gosh, sorry, I lost my thought. But I do want to say two other points. I like to keep my pulse on the digital platforms, and BetterUp as a platform. Lots of concern from coaches about surveillance technology. And then if we extend that, what might they consider in the future as supervision through AI? The final point that I wanted to add is that Torch, which is newer in the space, they are doing a research project in tandem with an organization whose name I cannot remember, but it is specific to AI supervision. So they are testing an AI application that does supervision. So if we think that it only affects our supervisees, we are wrong.
Mm. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I think that part of our challenge is to keep on track and know what's going on in the market. I think this is one, as supervisors, I believe one of our responsibilities is paying attention to these trends and what's happening. And Deborah, I agree with you. Like I remember when I shared with you, I heard about this 10 years ago. So I have been having the conversation for many years. People will say, well, human beings are not replaceable, what is true. But many people would rather work with a machine than with another human being. So we also need to pay attention to what you're saying, because I believe I have heard many of my colleagues that don't want to hear that or don't agree with that. And I do believe for a percentage of people, it may be an interesting option. Genevieve?
Yes. We were in the same group with Sam, but he left. So we were with Alexi and Erica. So we brought, it was a very generative discussion around, among others, responsibility. What's the responsibility that we are taking when we get used to AI? And we shouldn't lose our soul, because using AI is somewhere maybe forgetting to be a human being and lose our potential. Will we be able to do what we are doing now with AI if AI is no longer accessible? This is one of the questions that we just put on the table. And I would invite Erika and Alexi to add anything they want to what I said. And just a sentence: without emotions, we are human beings. Our intelligence will remain artificial for good.
Okay, interesting. So from the group, anybody, Erica or Alexis, want to add anything?
It was a very generative conversation. I think we went rounds in terms of talking about the ethics, talking about how the emotion plays in, talking about how we would hold space and try to support our coach to make the distinction around, kind of as you did, Damian, what we even mean by AI relative to their specific situation. Erica can also amplify what she had said about, everybody had, I think one of the things that was like for me, aside from the fact that video was hilarious and struck me as a Saturday Night Live sketch, the thing for me, I was like, it looked like a super religious video, and then it looked like a rehab center video. It was like all these videos, like you got the beach walk, you got the happy people doing cheer. It was, anyway, that's me, I'm wrestling. But one of the things that we also had talked about was this idea of, if something else is learning for you, then what does that do to your capacity?
Yeah.
That's a great question. Like, for example, what I shared with you about the PowerPoint presentation. Yes, it's great. It saved me time, but also it's not allowing me to, in the future, to do it if I had to do it by myself. Like sometimes we start depending on technology, on AI for things. So that can be tricky too. Now, I ask ChatGPT, okay, what I ask the question, will AI replace coaching? And this is what they had to say. Listen in the chat box. So the question of whether AI will replace coaches, like use my language, entirely is complex and multifaceted. Here are some considerations. Augmentation, no replacement. Somebody said that before. AI has the potential to augment coaching practices by providing additional tools, insight, and support to coaches. Rather than replacing coaches, AI can assist them in delivering more personalized and effective coaching experiences. Michelle, this is what you shared with us that David Clutterbuck was saying. Is this what you shared at the beginning of the session today?
Yes, that AI is an assistant, not a replacement.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is one of
And
the...
as an assistant, it can be very, very useful in analyzing things very quickly that we sometimes have difficulties to analyze. But now, if an AI is able to detect a parallel process, then I will say respect.
Listen, who knows? Because with analyzing the language and the conversation, what AI is doing now, for example, in this course, is getting the summary of the key points that we discussed. So it's analyzing the language, and from that it's coming up with summarizing. It may be able to do it. Listen to this. Second element, human element. Coaching often involves empathy. So this is the empathy issue is like one of the key differentiators. Intuition and emotional intelligence. What are areas where AI currently struggles to match human capabilities? While AI can analyze data and provide recommendations, it may not fully replicate the human connection and understanding that coaches offer. I think this is the other key element. The number 3, specialized needs. Some coaching contexts require highly specialized knowledge, nuanced understanding, adaptability that might be challenging for the AI to fully replicate. Coaches with expertise in niche areas or with a specific client demographic may continue to play a crucial role. So here is cases where AI will not work. Ethical considerations. There are ethical concerns where we talk about them. And then number 5, hybrid models. It's plausible that hybrid approach, combining the strength of AI with human coaching, will become more prevalent. Coaches may use AI tools for data analysis, personalized recommendation, monitoring progress, while still providing the human touch and guidance that clients value. In conclusion, while AI has the potential to transform and enhance coaching practices, it's unlikely to completely replace human coaches. The human element, specialized expertise, and ethical considerations. This is AI perspective. So, any comment, reactions before we go? People who didn't talk yet, if you want to share any ideas, thoughts, reactions? Yes, Linda.
Yeah, so as you were reading all of these areas for concern, what came up for me was this idea. So if let's imagine every company creates their own coaching platform, what it just becomes people are being coached with answers that the company wants them to have. I mean, it's this homogenization of people, and that it becomes a help tool that is really a training tool that is sold to employees as will help you understand how to work better in this workplace. I don't know, it's a little bit, that's the scary part of it to me, is that who's putting the information into the platform and for what purpose?
So, Linda, bias issues is a big concern. What are the bias that these platforms and these software are using? This is a big deal. That's one of the big ethical concerns that we have. It's a great point.
I also want to add, I mean, the idea of what is our existential idea of being human? What does that provide? The human connection, the nuances that come with having relationships with one another. And so I feel like I don't think AI can replace that ever. I mean, they can't replace human beings. I mean, like a chatbot, when I use a chatbot, I get frustrated because either I'm not using the right words or what have you. I'd rather speak to somebody on the phone or, you know, a human person. And so I don't know, from my own experience, it's like, yes, they're good for certain things, but the things maybe specialized or nuances is not being caught by AI.
Yeah. And also can provide, you know, can provide wrong information too. It's like we have to be careful. Like I have happened to me that I was asking for information, I was giving me wrong information. So even my own, I look in ChatGPT to say what they had to say about you. Who is Alexis Chamo? And see what ChatGPT had to say. In mine, I was surprised. It was pretty accurate. The only thing he says is a clinical psychologist, and I am not. So can you see? It's not. It's not perfect. You know, like Deborah.
Yeah, I guess one of the meta ideas that I'm seeing here is that we as humans need to sharpen our critical thinking skills. In other words, we have to, in all aspects, critically consume information as well as critically assess what is available to us. And I think it's something that we don't learn well, but it is, you know, a new skill that we all need.
Great point. Great point. Thank you, Deborah. Ida, and then Alexis, and then we're going to wrap up.
No, just to, I mean, I agree with what is being said, and I think that is challenging for all. But these discussions, and we need to keep closer because, again, if we don't get involved, someone will do it for us. And technology is evolving. We have to. I mean, we have all lived the evolution of technology during these years, and things continue happening, even if we don't agree and if we don't consider ethical or not. So this is reality, and I think that we have to challenge ourselves.
Thank you. I agree.
Alexis?
Alex, want to say something, then Michelle?
Yeah, I actually just had a quick tactical question because I'm familiar with this topic in an ideological way and in a thematic way. But in terms of the actual places like Zoom and the AI reading notes, meeting notes, I've not used them yet. I know they're there. Or if we're talking about ChatGPT, the app, I've used it periodically, but I'm curious, what do those of you who are using this on a regular basis, what do you use? Or for those of you who are seeing it with your coaches, what do they come to you with as far as programs or as far as interfaces?
That's a great question.
I'm curious.
So why don't we get everybody to answer in the chat box? So we have, because we don't have a lot of time, but we have the chat box. So I think that will be a great place for everybody. Like, I want to thank here Teresa Tremadoro, who's here with us, because she kept telling me, Damian, we need to use Notes for mentor coaching. And she was telling me about that for years. And I said, okay, yes, one day. Now, this software helps you to analyze coaching conversations to provide mentor coaching following ICF core competencies. So it analyzes the session and it tells you where are the competencies. So when you need to do mentor coaching and provide feedback on coaching conversation, AI can identify ICF competencies in the conversation for you. And it helps the job. It doesn't replace the job of the mentor coach, but really makes a big difference, make it much easier. So that's an example. But everybody, if you can write down in the chat box, in our chat box, whatever idea, thing that you're using. Perplexity. I heard somebody else talking about perplexity in one of the sessions. How do you use perplexity? Do you want to share with everybody?
Yeah, I mean, I use it all the time just to challenge my thinking. Like, I'm thinking this, give me an alternative perspective. Like I get caught in my biases all the time. Like we talk about AI being biased, but I'm a human biased machine making up assumptions all the time. So, you know, I might be stuck with a client. I'll say, I'm stuck with my client. Tell me another perspective, or tell me something else. Like conversations I would use with humans, but if there isn't a human available, I'll jump into perplexity and say, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What's happening here? What's happening there? Like, it's just a way, if I don't have a human around, to test my thinking.
Right.
And it's limited, and it's totally limited. But I agree with Deborah, what you were saying, Deborah, about, you know, improving our critical thinking. And I work for Accenture, and we have tons of coaching bots the whole time. We're being coached all the time. And I think most people know it's programmed by the organization, but they're really helpful as well. I'm aware of time. I'll shut up.
Yeah. That's okay. Michelle has a comment, and then we need to wrap up. And by the way, before I forget, I put in the chat box, because I am in Lily's Zoom, I cannot share document for some reason. So I took a picture, and I will be sending you an email with a lot of resources, including the magazine with AI, the article that Mel shared, and other resources around AI that I collected in the last couple of years, and that will be helpful for you. And also, Gary offered, if anybody is interested in subscribing to the Coach magazine, there is a discount code. So here, if by any chance you have been thinking about it and now you wanted to do it, if you go to coachchoicemagazine.com and you subscribe and you get this code, Friends of Choice, it will give you a discount. Okay, I don't get anything from this. It's just we get his support with the free magazine. So this is why we're doing that. Michelle.
It's going to be very short. I mean, AI is not at ease with collective intelligence, and there is an area where we can still be good for some time. So I would say 5 years, no more. So
what happened after 5 years?
Yeah, as team coaching is growing very quickly, I mean, I think we can invest in that and stay away from AI during, I say, sometimes.
Thank you, Michelle. I do believe that we all need to be more aware and familiar. And thank you for coming, because this is preaching to the choir. You're already committed to this. But the people, some of our colleagues need to learn more about it, and they are not interested in doing that. That is, and I see that's a challenge for us as a community. And we have an announcement from Genevieve. Do you want to make an announcement?
Yes, very quickly. Yes. Thank you very much, Damian.
Yes.
Next week, exactly in 1 week, we have the book club that we are kicking off season 4. And this time we're going to talk about imposter syndrome and inner critic. It is a wonderful book which has been written by a young woman, very intelligent girl, and she has developed a very innovative way of working with inner critic. So you will see the flyer very soon, and I invite you all, if you can make it, to join us.
And it's also in the newsletter. Is the information there if you want to participate?
I will post the information later today.
Okay,
and
great.
I will just I will do it.
I
will be presenting it with Anushli. Yeah, pardon me?
Right. No, I was wondering, next Tuesday also is our Asian Supervisors Network, if you can make it. And we are going to be talking about global trends. It's a Tuesday night, so Wednesday morning in Asia. Do we have any other announcement? Deborah, do you have any announcement? Anybody else have any announcement you want to make before we go?
Just that we had a neurodiversity community of practice this afternoon, and that's been canceled.
Okay, so we want to learn about the next one. Anybody else have any announcement you want to make? We already announced a conference at the beginning of the session today. Anybody had any invitations before we go? Okay, was great seeing everyone. Great seeing everyone. We'll see you. We'll see you soon. Okay, we'll see you maybe next week or next month. Take care.
Thank you, Damian,
Thanks
for
for coming.
hosting
Thank you,
this.
Damian.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
great conversation. Thank you. Bye.
Damian, just 1 second.
Yes.
Just one thing. What do you think about inviting maybe a keynote speaker who has written a book in French?
You know what?
And the discussion.
Genevieve, sorry for interrupting, but this is Lily's room and there are 2 people waiting for her. So I need to go so she can come in. So let's talk about that later, okay? But it sounds good.